Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the CEO and founder of The Front Dream, no other than Mr. James Hilovsky.
Awesome. Thank you so
Welcome
much.
to welcome to Book 101, Mr. James. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm James Hilovsky. I am the founder, CEO of the Frandry. What we do at the Frandry is we uh, not only match professional athletes, but we match any professionals that are looking into into the business world, specifically with the franchise business. So if they're tired of the corporate grind, or an athlete when the playing days are done, or even while they're playing, we help find them a franchise match for them.
Mr. James Hilovsky, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And how does the athlete's or an athlete's competitive drive translate into entrepreneurial success?
Well, that's a great question, and in the franchise world, it is a natural fit because if you think about it, an athlete all their life has been following a playbook, but not only following a playbook, they also have bet on themselves. So they don't really have that fear of going into business because they've been in business all their lives because their business is their body, and they've been coached by a coach, and been given a playbook and playbooks to follow. In franchise business, you get the franchisor, which gives you that playbook of how to follow the business and the things to do and what not to do. And they also are there helping teach you and training you how to do that business. It could be one that the athlete knows nothing about, but they will train you how to run the business and the how to handle situations that come up in the business. So it makes a really a great fit because athletes are used to that their whole lives. That's what they've been doing.
A great fit indeed. In what ways does performing under high stakes pressure in sports prepare athletes for a business crisis?
Yeah, definitely. Because as we know, sometimes in business, you'll have to pivot really quickly and make a decision really quickly. Well, the athletes are really high performance, like you said, issues to where they have to make a decision and be able to turn either the business on the dime. So they're able and adapt to handle that because they used to also they have an analyzation factor of them where they analyze the playbook, they analyze their swing, they analyze their tackle technique, they analyze their shot. So it's all about analyzing of numbers that translates really well into the business to make those really quick decisions and to analyze to help make the right decision.
Indeed, making the right decision in the business is crucial. How do the rigorous training habits of athletes give them an advantage in building consistent business systems?
Yeah, that's great too because really an athlete is trained to get up and develop a system to go out and train. So really no days off because they know if they let their body go in some way, they're not going to perform really well. Same way in business. In business, you have to be able to perform, but as a business owner, sometimes you could get into trouble of like, well, I own the company. I might just take a break here or there and overlook some things that maybe you're not putting your all into. The athletes, they're going to put their all into it because they've been used to doing that and doing that, as you said, rigorous training. So they're going to put 100% into the business.
Mr. James, as a how do athletes experience leading or collaborating in team sport translate to building business teams?
So what's really great in the franchise world of athletes will rely on their teammates for information or those pointers that they've gotten from either coaches or, like I said, teammates. And then really the thing is that in when it comes to business, in the franchise business, they're going to have a the franchisor is not only going to give them that support and that the teammates will be franchisees in the system. So you'll have, maybe 20 to 30 franchisees in your system that are going to be able to provide you with support and that feedback and that knowledge to help that. And that's what's so great about an athlete, because they will take all the criticism or advice to help them in their business.
Advise them, truly advise to guide them to a successful businessman. How do athletes experiences with losses, injuries, or setbacks uniquely equip them to handle business failures?
Yeah, so that's another great uh, attribute that athletes have, to where in business, as you know, it's not always going to be roses and it's not always going to be great. There's going to be in some lows in business. I think every entrepreneur will tell you they thought, wow, I really didn't know if I was going to make it in my business, or there was a a time where I just kind of bottomed out and didn't know how to really get through that. The athlete has already experienced those failures, though the hard times, to where in business they'll know, okay, if I stick to the system and I keep working hard, and not only that, but I'm also going to go out and get the advice of going, what am I doing wrong, and learn from my mistakes. That the athlete's really easily able to adapt that into the business model, to where they're not throwing their hands up and going, oh, this is way too much for me. They have the skill set to dig themselves out.
Very well said, Mr. James. Very well said. And I'm gonna give you a big applause. Do athletes leverage former coaches as a business advisor, and how this differ from a traditional mentorship?
Yeah, so some athletes will do the coaching environment where they might have them, or some just might will just when they're done playing, they're done. And some coaches, they're busy, so they might not have time to, connect with the athletes. But what the athlete tends to do is they tend to have, the support group of, former teammates or former players in the league that they've had, to where they'll talk with and they'll go through experience. I've had a lot of athletes come up to me and go, hey, a guy I played ball with, he got into this particular franchise in this industry. So can you look into this industry? What do you think? Would that be a good fit for me? So they still talk, and they talk about business doings and industries that they're in, that they could bounce things off one another.
Totally agree with you, Mr. James. How do athletes evaluate franchise brands to ensure alignment with their personal values like culture, community, or community impact?
Yeah, so really they value that community impact and culture. Really, that really is kind of what we do when we talk with an athlete when they're looking to get into a franchise system. We're like, okay, what areas of interest do you have, and what are you looking to do? What are you looking to run this day to day? Are you looking to do this and maybe make this a family business, and maybe have, your wife and your kids run this, to where you want to build, generational wealth with this business. So we kind of get those type of what they're looking for out there, and then we try to tailor made match this. I'll give you an example. We have a NFL player that we're working with that he wanted to, he's still playing, so he's like, hey, I got 1 or 2 years left in the league. What I really want to do is I want to come out and be able to make money when I'm done playing. I know when I'm done playing, that check's not coming in anymore, and so i I need to have some income. And he had a set amount. He goes, I'd like to make $500,000, what I'd like to walk into. So the strategy was, okay, we're going to have to do a multi-unit deal. Let's try to do one Now you're playing the first year, then that second year that you think might be, your last year, will open the second one, and then the third one. If you decide to play another third or fourth year, we can open it then. And you're going, when you're done playing and the cheering stops, you're going to walk into that. And it was very important also that we found a franchise that fit his, what he felt was really good about it. And it wound up being a gym franchise. And the franchise, what they do, not only do they have the gym of working out and keeping healthy, but they have a 6 week weight loss challenge that they do every 6 weeks. And he really liked that it helped people lose fat, and that they have their own brand of protein mix. And I've never seen anybody do this with the brand, but he got and looked at everything that was in that protein. The supplements were in there, all the ingredients, and he wanted to make sure that it was top grade stuff. Otherwise, he was not even going to buy into the franchise, because he had to make sure it was really good thing that people were putting into their bodies.
Yes, indeed, scrutinize it. How do athletes navigate the emotional shift from star player to CEO without roar of the crowd?
Yeah, that is a tough one. And what every athlete will tell you is that they miss the locker room more than anything else. And the locker room is that, that guys, the camaraderie that were in there of my teammates. It's, live or die out there on the field. So they typically will be missing some of that. And once they get their business started and get into the franchise business, as I mentioned before, they will find those teammates and franchisees that are in the system that they kind of latch onto. And the existing franchisees and the franchise, they become their new locker room. But it really is a tough transition to do that, to go into. But that's typically how they navigate those waters.
It's a tough choice indeed. What business skills do athletes have, like finance, marketing? Do athletes most often need to develop post retirement?
That's a really great question. What I will say is that athletes have the one thing that, if we're talking with someone who's in corporate America looking to go into business from 9 to 5, the biggest problem with them is going to, the corporate America folks, is going to be fear of giving up that paycheck, of letting go of the security of a job, and that risk. Well, that's where the athlete excels, because they've been betting on themselves all their life, so they typically don't have that fear. And really, the one thing that they really do is they lean on the franchisor heavily with marketing. Although they might have their some marketing ideas, they'll lean on the marketing side, as well as the finance bookkeeping side, and just to really lean on those two, where their skills may be a little bit off. That's why they get into a franchise. So the franchisor can help them with systems to be in place to teach them that. So, but they are able to navigate that waters and to take that advice to heart.
Mr. James, how can athletes avoid being exploited by brands or businesses capitalizing on their fame?
Yeah, that's a great question, because that definitely happens a lot. So when we work with an athlete, what we do is we have already vetted about 400 franchises out there. You might say, "Wow, that's a lot," but typically there's about 7,000 franchises there. So we've got about 400 vetted that we show the athlete out there. And what we do is we help walk them through. We'll show them the industries that are out there that can be a potential really great match. But then we'll introduce them to the franchisor. But what we'll do, we'll help them during that process of, hey, you know what? Look over this FDD. That's a franchise disclosure document in franchising. Of make sure the fees are right. Make sure that you're not missing anything. But I think the biggest thing is, let's verify, with the franchisees in the system. Let's talk with them before you make that decision to go into this business. And let's ask questions like, what kind of support do you get? Are you getting top notch support? Are you getting would they do it again? Was one thing, and how quick were they profitable? So it's really a matter of helping the athlete do a very good due diligence and very good inspection of the franchise, so they don't get exploited of a franchise just going, yeah, we want you in there, and that we make sure that they go through the process and that they have vetted the franchise, not only with talking with the franchisor, but talking with franchisees in the system.
Going through the process indeed, due process. How can athletes recover when a business venture doesn't succeed?
Yeah, so that is one thing where we all have trouble recovering where the business center doesn't succeed. So in a franchise system, they typically, if an athlete had some trouble with that, they're going to do a franchisor is going to do everything to help anybody in business to succeed. If it is just not working and it doesn't seem to be a great fit, sometimes the franchisor will offer to buy the franchisee, in this case would be the athlete's business, from them, or another franchisee might say, hey, that's a great territory, I think I can make that a go. So they will come in and offer to buy that as well, so at least they could recoup some of their investment, to where we can look at a different industry or a different business for them to take another crack at.
Mr. James, as a CEO of the Front Dream, what are your short term and long term goals?
So really, the short term goal is really just, hey, I want to help as many athletes and as many business, corporate America people, or anybody looking to get into business, show them what's out there on the market and help them find the right fit, of making sure it is a great fit and a great franchise to set them up for success. Long term goal, believe it or not, is to do the same thing, but just with many more people, across. I work with everybody across us, and the long term goal is to be able to do that with more and more clients, and to have maybe a couple more people that are doing it, and possibly just have somebody in different parts of the US that are representing the Fran Dream, that can help everyone who needs help looking at different franchise options.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. James, and looking forward for more and more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be a CEO like you as a founder of a business?
Really, it all starts with the fear to do it, to take that chance, to bet on yourself, because again, that's the most thing that will hold people back, is the fear of doing it. And I think any entrepreneur that you talk to would go, gosh, I wish I would have done this sooner. And really, that would be my advice. And then also, whenever you're having some trouble in business, go to peers or go to people that are CEOs, and pick their brain, and learn some things from them that might be able to get you out of your rut, because everyone's there to support you, in a way, in your peer group, and your friends. And I would just say, heed the advice, and just always look back on, what can I do to improve today, do how can I be better than I was the day before? Just kind of look at that, and just try to strive to get better each and every day.
Thank you for your advice, Mr. James. And yes, people, take the risk. Take the risk if you want to succeed. And Mr. James, can you please recommend a book that influenced your journey?
Yes, I would say any of the books by, believe it or not, this is going to sound a little corny, but the millionaire listings in the real estate world of Josh Altman, Ryan Seahan, Tracy Tudor. Those are all great books. And why are they great books? Because it's about business. Yes, it's heavily focused on real estate, but it's about, hey, you know what? I didn't think I was ever going to make this. And you know what? When we got into real estate, it's all commission based, so we didn't have a paycheck anymore. So we had the ups and downs, and just to hear and read a perspective of all three of them, of how they were able to overcome that, the marketing techniques that they use, the the people that they leaned on, that it wasn't just them self-driven. Yes, they were driven, but they had a network in place that they would go out to, that would help them, give advice and help them get back on the right track. So I would recommend those books.
In the right track, people, and thank you for your recommendation, Mr. James. And what other business models like tech startups or venture capital suit athlete skills?
Yeah, I would say, anything in, a lot of the athletes love to do, real estate, investments where they hit the skills. Obviously, I think the franchise market is great. I mean, look at Shaq out there, that's making more money now than he did when he was playing in the franchise world. You have Junior Bridgman that did it before Shaq, that was into the restaurant business. So I would say, really, just get an industry and a business that an athlete would love, and that we could find them a match, and we can make their dreams come true.
Yes, indeed. Mr. James, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course, my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and food 101 in its fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in fourth season, as well as my Movie 101 review and Music 101. Science 101 and Sex 101 in each first season. Please listen to them wherever you're listening your podcast. Mr. James, how does business ownership allow athletes to extend their impact beyond their sports career?
Yeah, it's very important for a lot of them to give back to the community, and any business that they choose. It's very highly important that they're giving back to the community, of what they do, and the service they provide, as well as the business gives them example to continue that, cheering for them, to meet the fans when the fans come out to see them in their business, where they are actually in their business running it. So it really, is something that's very important for them to give back, and be able to meet and greet the fans, and talk to the fans, because a lot of times you will hear, you know a, a, you know people that are grown and just saying, I remember when I met that athlete when I was 10 years old, and he was so kind to me and so nice to me, and it made me want to be who I am today.
Mr. John or James Hilovsky, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy as well as your business itself?
Yes, absolutely. Go to thefrandream.com, or send me an email at James at the Fran Dream, and would love to connect with you.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. James Hilovsky, because if you support him, more and more and more empowering business to come, more and more empowering athletes, businessmen to come. So, Mr. James, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure.
Bodycom people, see you soon.